So recently, I have been extremely hyper obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh! Specifically the format of Master Duel. And in this video, I'm going to show you specifically one match that I played. It was going to be more, but then I realized that that's a lot of editing, and I don't feel like it. So we're just doing the one. What you'll see me do here in a minute is collect my dailies, make sure my mentions are up to date. But I like to think that I'm okay. I run a Cyber Dragon deck right now. It might turn into something different, like a Cyber Dark, but I'm gold rank 2, which is a miracle in and of itself. If you ask me, I don't know how this deck gets to gold rank 2. But in this coin flip coming up, uh, here soon when this is there you go. You'll see that I actually did end up winning this coin flip, but I did let him go first because in higher ranked gameplay you can't always get coin flip, so you just gonna have to get used to going second half the time. So half the time I like to choose to go second, that way I can get used to it. Anyways, here's how the field works, just so we're up to date with each other. In the sake for respect for your time, I'm going to use red arrows to put where I'm talking to. I'm going to speedrun it, so feel free to watch it again or slow it down. The extra summon go right here in the middle. Your field spell goes here and here on both sides. Those are spells that affect the whole field. You have spells and traps which go on this field here, although some of them don't remain there. You have the monster field, which is here and here. Um, Also, some of those don't remain there, but that's where the majority of cards will be placed. Here are your banish fields. Here are your graveyards. Here are your extra decks and your main decks. This is the timer that lets you know how much time you've got left. This is where uh, the turn and the step of the turn is displayed. You have health here and here, although in this image you can't see it very well. Then here are mates, which are little guys you can buy from the shop to keep you company during your duel. So before I started my little rant about how the match is set up, I did mention that I only have one major issue with this game in particular, specifically Master Duel, which is still the first Yugi game I've actually played. And I'm only going to touch on it once, like I said before, and it's that the combos make the game too long, and we're going to leave it there because this point has been driven home a million times, and to this point where I understand why people are tired of hearing it. But um, while he's taking his sweet time to get his deck set up and summon a million monsters, I actually have time to get up and go pee, have dinner with the family. Now, all joking aside, I'm looking at my cards and what I can do to counter whatever he's doing. But at the moment, I'm not too concerned about taking damage. You can't do damage on the first turn. So no matter how high he stacks his damage, I will always have a way around it, hopefully. The Cyber Dragon deck is very aggressive. It doesn't really have very many defensive or negation effects. There's a few. Like I've got Ash Blossom, which is, to my knowledge, a relatively newer card to the series. But as you can see, I didn't pull them in my hand. So if he ever starts, if I had that card, I could have stopped him before he started. But it's whatever. It's Heart of the Cards. But I'm actually looking to see, and on the far left there, you can see a Cyber Dragon. Next to that is a Regeki, and in the middle there is a really fun card. It's called Machine Factory. And if I summon a card that has 500 or less attack, that has the name Machine on it, then I can summon two more cards. And I think that's really funny. So he does what's called a special summon, and he summons this really big monster. And that monster has a really scary effect. That monster can actually negate one of my effects. And like I said, I don't really have any cards that can stop him. So
I'm thinking about what I can do to possibly get that card off the field. And then he summons another dragon. And at this point, I've pretty much solidified in my head that I'm going to do my best to get rid of that white card in the extra field because that card not only has the most damage, it is the most scary. So he did make up my turn. And at this point, like I said, I already have my plan in mind. I pulled up Power Bond, which is useful, but not at the moment. So I wait for my main turn so I can start enacting my plan. Okay. I'm reading his card here, making sure it's not going to conflict me because I haven't seen that card before. Reading this card to make sure it doesn't conflict me because I haven't seen this card before. And I'm double checking this card because I have seen it before, but I didn't remember the effect. Just re-verifying. Yep. Okay, she can negate me. I gotta get rid of that card. So I'm reading his graveyard, seeing if there's any cards I can remove because I have a card called Called by the Grave, which means I can remove any card from his graveyard if they are a monster card. Just kind of seeing if there's anything there that'll stop me from, taking my turn, stop me from doing anything. And now that I'm pretty confident that he can't really do anything to stop me, I'm going to go ahead and special summon Cyber Dragon because I don't have any monsters on the field and he does. At this point, I decide I'm going to summon my Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon, which means I can take my monster and his monster and turn them into my monster. And that's how I got rid of his big monster, his big Baroness de Fleur. At this point, I think it'd be pretty funny if I use Call by the Grave. And what Call by the Grave allows me to do is it allows me to pick one of his monsters from his graveyard, and I can just kind of go, nope, you're okay. But the game does give him the ability to counter, which he didn't do, thank the Lord. I don't want that card on the field anymore. And I think at this point it'd be pretty funny to hit him with a Regeki, which is supposed to destroy all the monsters on the field. But he does counter this one. Not a fan of this one, I think. No, he actually didn't try to count. Yeah, he did. Like his monster had an effect that countered it. I got rid of one of his monsters. That was the most important part. Um, However, I set this card down face down into the spell field because he wants a spell, and I pretty much end my turn because if I attack him, I'm just going to take back damage, and there is no point. If I attack him, I take the 200 back damage, and then he has full rights to do more damage to me. So just for the sake of saving my health, I do nothing. Uh, I'm gonna go ahead and speed through this because he, if I remember correctly, does go for a while.
I want to thank you guys for easily do, and it came out of nowhere. Provided upload schedule. I want to thank you those channel. I have become, like I said earlier, massively upset. However, I was like OTKs or FTKs, which will be something I get into next video. Without further ado, I'll see you next time.